Hello class. Hi, this is Dr. Tithi Banerjee from the Department of Civil Engineering from Swami Vivekananda Institute of Science and Technology. So today I will be delivering lecture on sewage characteristics, chemical characteristics and its aspects. So in the previous class I have already discussed regarding the important aspects of environmental engineering and the role of environmental engineering in civil engineering and the physical properties of the sewage. Today we will discuss basically on the chemical attributes of sewage. So let's start the class. So in the previous class I have discussed all the physical attributes like color, odor, temperature, turbidity. There are several physical attributes which can be diagnosed physically in naked eye. In case of to delineate the chemical characteristics, we need to know the chemical properties of sewage. So we can say that municipal and domestic sewage are characterized by their chemical composition, which includes both organic and inorganic substances. Key chemical characteristics include pH, dissolved oxygen, biochemical oxygen demand, chemical oxygen demand, nitrogen, phosphorus, and the presence of heavy metals and various organic compounds. So these are the chemical attributes. So now what is we need to know what is municipal sewage and what is domestic sewage. So in the previous class I have already discussed that domestic sewage are those sewage which are coming from household activities. In case of municipal sewage, the municipal sewage are generally comes from household activities, office, school, colleges, institutions, market complex, shopping mall, etc. So these are the municipal solid waste. Municipal sewage. Now we will discuss in details of the several regarding the several chemical attributes of sewage. So now one of the important chemical attributes is pH. So pH, we all have read of pH in the school standard. In chemistry, we all know that pH is a logarithm scale used to specify the acidity or basicity of aqueous solutions. Acidic solutions with higher concentration of H plus ion, that is hydrogen ion, are measured to have lower pH values than basic or alkaline solution, which is rich in OH radicals, right, or OH minus ion. So in case of acid, the pH value is less than 7, and in case of basic substance, the pH value is greater than 7. So in case of sewage is typically slightly acidic and which has a pH between 6 to 7. Now the another attributes is dissolved oxygen. Now what is dissolved oxygen? The amount of oxygen which is dissolved in sewage. As we all know that water is highly soluble with oxygen. So the amount of oxygen which is dissolved in sewage, that is known as dissolved oxygen. So the more the dissolved oxygen is, the sewage is less contaminated, right? So this is an important chemical aspect. Now this is very important. Another aspect is BOD, that is biological oxygen demand. What is that? So BOD measures the amount of oxygen required by the microorganisms which is already in the sewage to decompose organic matter. So from the definition only, we can easily interpret that high BOD content indicates a significant amount of organic matter in the sewage. Now coming to chemical oxygen demand. So what is chemical oxygen demand? Chemical oxygen demand, that is commonly known as COD, measures the total amount of oxygen needed to oxidize all organic compounds in the sewage. Now, what is oxidation? Oxidation is a chemical reactions which is conducted in presence of oxygen, and after oxidation, oxides are formed. So, addition of oxygen, the chemical reaction where addition of oxygen is taking place, it is known as oxidation. So, COD measures the total amount of oxygen needed to oxidize all organic compounds in the sewage. Similar to BOD, high COD indicates a higher concentration of organic matter, right? So these are two important aspects, because because these two parameters indicates the amount of dissolved oxygens in the sewage. So by measuring these two attributes or these two parameters, we can easily delineate that how much oxygen dissolved in the water and how much oxygen can be extractable, uh, can be extracted, right? So higher the dissolved oxygen, lower the concentration of contamination, right? So these two parameters are important because it indicates the amount of dissolved oxygen. So another important aspect is nitrogen. In case of BOD and COD, we will go to some numerical problems in the next lecture. Now coming to nitrogen. So nitrogen is in sewage exists in various forms, including organic nitrogen, ammonia, nitrite. It's a key component in biological process and is crucial for wastewater treatment plant, because the bacteria or the organisms get their nutrients from nitrogen, from ammonia, from nitrates. So it can persist in a living form through having intake of this nitrogen related substance. So that's why this nitrogen plays a crucial role for wastewater treatment. Now coming to another important aspect is phosphorus. Sewage also contains phosphorus both in organic and in inorganic forms. Heavy metals can include toxic heavy metals, which can include toxic heavy metals like lead, cadmium, mercury, arsenic, copper, chromium, and zinc. These are very toxic, and before releasing this sewage in the environment, we need to extract all those heavy metals through secondary sewage treatment, right? So before releasing this wastewater, that is sewage, to our environment, we need to extract it, because otherwise the environmental water will get so much polluted that it will not be able for any kind of able for usage of any kind of domestic activities, right? So heavy metals should be extracted before releasing it in the environment by secondary sewage treatment process. Now, another important chemical attributes, organic compounds. Sewage contains a variety of organic substances, including proteins, carbohydrates, fats, synthetic compounds like pesticides and other pollutants. These are all organic compounds. Now, what are the sources of these chemical components? So I have already told you what are the chemical components which are in an admixture form in the sewage. Now I will be briefing regarding the sources of these chemical compounds. So what are the sources? Human waste, food waste, detergents and soaps, industrial discharge, decomposition of organic matter, right? So decomposition of organic matter, I will elaborate this point, releases various gases, these hydrogen sulfide, which contributes to the odor of the sewage, right? So understanding these chemical characteristics is essential for designing and operating effective wastewater treatment systems. So decomposition of organic matter, these are the source also, the chemical component, because it releases sulfides, sulfides and other kind of ammonia, which contributes which contributes in forming the odor of the sewage, as well as the temperature also, right? So biological characteristics of municipal and sewage. If I say what are the coming to the next slide, if I want to describe about the biological characteristics of municipal and domestic sewage, I must have to describe these following aspects. That is, biological characteristics are organic matter, nutrients, pathogens, microorganisms. So organic matter, I have already told you, it is coming from the source, from let's say from food waste, animal waste, and decomposed animal bodies, or any kind of decomposition of animal skeletons and all. These are the source of organic matter. And now coming to the nutrients, nitrogen and phosphorus are essential nutrients for microbial growth. However, in excess they can cause eutrophication in water bodies, leading to algal blooms and oxygen depletion. So too much nitrogen can lead to algal blooms and oxygen. If there is too much concentration of nitrogen, then the amount of microorganisms in the sewage will increase, and as a result depletion of oxygen will occur, because the microorganisms need oxygen for their photosynthesis processes, right? What are pathogens? Pathogens are those which are commonly known as bacteria, viruses, protozoas, which creates several kind of human disease, kind of E. coli, jaundice, several kind of human disease, cholera, diarrhea. And what are the pathogens which forms in the sewage are Salmonella, Shigella, E. coli, Streptococcus, right? Streptococcus. These are the several varieties of microorganisms or pathogens which are formed in the sewage. So, microorganism, I would want to give a brief that microorganisms are generally essential in sewage to decompose several kind of toxic compounds, right? But too much concentration of microorganism can lead to depletion of oxygen. So if there is depletion of oxygen, then we cannot get dissolved oxygen, and oxygen, the amount of oxygen, the considerable amount of oxygen could not be extracted from the sewage. So too much concentration of microorganisms is really unhealthy, but a certain amount of microorganisms is required to decompose the toxic compounds, right? So several kind of bacteria are there: aerobic bacteria, anaerobic bacteria, uh, facultative bacteria. These bacteria can survive and function with or without oxygen. Okay. And what are aerobic bacteria? These bacteria require oxygen to break down organic matter, consuming dissolved oxygen in the process. And what are anaerobic bacteria? These bacteria can thrive in the absence of oxygen and play a role in breakdown of organic matter in oxygen limited environments, right? Other microorganisms, what are they? Fungi help decompose organic matter, protozoa consume bacteria, and viruses can be major health concern. So these are the type of bacteria present in sewage: aerobic bacteria, anaerobic bacteria, facultative bacteria, and uh, other microorganism also, that is fungi, etc. Right? So all these are the type of bacteria which are present dominantly in the sewage. So too much concentration of bacteria or microorganism is also unhealthy or matter of concern, or insignificant amount of microorganisms are also unhealthy, right? So these are the components of sewage, chemical components of sewage. So if I want to summarize the whole topic, I can say that BOD, that is biological oxygen demand, is a crucial indicator of organic pollution strength, guiding environmental and impact assessment. Predict total oxygen demand, that is calculating ultimate BOD, helps predict the total oxygen demand, crucial for assessing long-term impacts on aquatic or marine environment. Now, proper waste treatment significantly reduces BOD, safeguarding the health and biodiversity of water bodies. Now, a thorough investigation of physical and chemical attributes of sewage is necessary prior to treatment, so that we can have a assessment that how much quantity of sewage can be treated or should be treated. So that's all, students, for this class. Okay, in the next class we will be discussing regarding the BOD and COD numerical problems. As of now, thank you and goodbye.